Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, live tonight in the Bourbon Life Studios is my good friend, Matt. Matt, how you doing over there?
Mark, I'm doing great, man. We are live. We're not doing
No
squadcast.
yeah.
There is little technology involved, so if something messes up, it's all us.
It's our fault. It's my fault because I set everything up earlier today. So if anything screws up on the tracks, man, it's on my shoulders. Nobody else to blame.
No. We'll be great.
So, Matt, I hate that we don't do video, but yeah, man, you walked in tonight and your hair, it's all gone. So anybody that's watched our postcast videos, they know Matt typically when he's not wearing his beanie, Matt's got some pretty long hair. He opened the front door tonight and he looked like one of the Tour de France cyclists, man. He had the short hair and it's dark. It's not blonde. It's just totally different, man. Throw me for a look. It looks good though, man.
Yeah, it's getting nice and warm here in Kentucky, and after 2+ years of growing out the hair, I was able to donate 12.5 inches to Wigs for Kids.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I know you've done that several times now, right?
Yeah,
So,
I have donated hair to different causes before, and this is the longest it's ever been.
yeah,
So
crazy, dude. So
easiest weight loss I've ever experienced.
now you're going to be more aerodynamic too, right?
That's right.
Because you got Ironman coming up pretty soon, right? Competition, you got something coming up.
Yeah, the season's kicking off, so in the
Yeah.
coming months here,
Look at
back
you, man.
to racing.
Aerodynamic, ready to roll. All right, man. Well, I don't want to bore too many people, with all our banter, but that's just kind of what we do, right?
Yeah, it's bore too many
Bore
people
to death.
Yeah,
It's just weird when we don't have we have guests, but we don't, we're not on Squadcast, so it's just kind of it's just different, man. It's kind of weird going back to that format,
it is different. But you know what we do have?
What's that?
Sponsors to thank.
We do have sponsors to thank. That's a great idea, Matt. Let me jump to the sponsors. We'll pay our bills. The Stave Restaurant out there in Millville, Kentucky, conveniently located on McCracken Pike between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve. Check those guys out. Chef Kyle Klatka just preparing some amazing elevated Kentucky cuisine out there. They do have live music Saturday nights. They've got they call it the Tree House. It's right on the banks of Glens Creek. It's a really cool little place. You can go hang out and eat outside on the deck, but it's under the canopy of trees. It's really cool, right on the creek bank. But then they also still have their fire pits. Not that you want to fire right now, but they got the picnic tables set out there. So,
Shoot, you might actually sit by a fire to cool down with this heat.
That's true, man. It's been pretty brutal the last few days. But then also they're open inside now, of course, for dining, which is great. And they still have their porch, and it's just a really fun place. So check those guys out if you're out on the Bourbon Trail. And then 3 Chord Bourbon, again, we just appreciate their support as well. All they're doing, Ari Sussman, their master blender, he's just he's mixing up some great stuff, man.
And speaking of, I think I just saw online Ari had a birthday recently, maybe even this week.
Did you really?
I think I might have seen that.
Oh, well, I didn't see that. I'll have to check on that. So Ari, man, if you had a birthday, happy birthday. I'm sorry that I didn't.
Well, you do have a birthday, so happy birthday. But if it happened to have been recently, extra happy birthday
Ari
from all of us here. Thank you.
I don't know, man. Ari, he's like this mad scientist genius, so he may not be human. He's just like some other race or some weird, alien that came in and does all this bourbon blending, because he's got some magic touch on that, man. So I don't know, but he's a good guy, and we appreciate their support. Neil Giraldo, I cannot say his name, Matt. Never can say it. Neil Giraldo is the owner of the company, and also just happens to be Pat Benatar's husband. But he's a great guy. We had him on the show last year, and hopefully we'll get them back on the show here pretty soon. But with that said, Matt, let's move into our show. You want to tell everybody who we got sitting in with us tonight?
Yeah, we've got a full roundup of the Bourbon Life crew tonight. This is like the dream team here.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, the dream team, man.
Yeah.
I'm Jordan.
Yeah, just so in like the Tour de France, we would be like your, what is it, the Il Domestique?
There you go. That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Your second in command.
There you go.
So anyway, we've got joining us Philip Ellison and also Chad Watkins? Watson. Sorry,
Watson.
I'm sorry, Chad.
Everybody knows everybody by first name or by handles, because Chad's My Daily Bourbon on Instagram, and Philip is Kentucky Bourbon Hunting, right?
Bourbon Hunting KY.
Damn it!
Yeah.
See,
don't.
I know, but I mean that's we communicate through Instagram mostly, so that's how we know each other. So,
so this is the Bourbon Life crew here.
Yeah,
right, hanging out in the studio this evening.
We do have the crew, man. So, welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, man, we're happy you guys. We tried to do this before, it didn't quite work out. Things change, obviously, schedules change, and but I'm glad we were able to get this together tonight, man. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun, and we got you guys. This is awesome, man, because you guys brought some stuff, Matt brought some stuff, I got some stuff here, so we got lots of stuff to drink on tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun.
There's stuff.
There's stuff everywhere, man.
There is stuff everywhere.
So speaking of stuff, should we get right into it before we forget?
Let's talk
we do it.
Yeah.
Before we do it, we always do.
Yeah. Let's talk about what we're drinking, Matt.
That's right. First round was sponsored by me, and this is a rye that was gifted to me from my sister from Republic Restorative's Distillery in D.C. Now, this is a woman-owned, crowd-funded distillery. And this is their single barrel 100 proof rye. So this is a 5-year-old rye. Not a whole lot of information about mash bill or anything else, including online. They don't really give a whole lot away about it, but Republic Restorative's Distillery, and this is their Purpose Rye, single barrel 100 proof 5-year-old rye.
So is this is distilled by them then, or is it? Or do you
I
know?
believe so. Label says produced and bottled. So
That would lead me to believe that yes.
Maybe.
You think? Because it says produced, instead of
Yeah, but if you remember that whole Templeton thing a few years ago, they said produced by, and it was all MGP.
Yeah,
so you can't
do that. Okay, all right, yeah, because I was gonna say I know they're kind of skirting that. Some people will try to get away with that or whatever. So okay, so we're assuming probably that they did distill it themselves. So 5 years. So you said it is crowd funded.
Yeah, it's woman owned and crowd funded.
Huh.
Says right on the label.
Maybe we should do that.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Is this like a Kickstarter campaign?
Dang, dude.
Or?
Yeah,
Must
man.
have been. Yeah, Purpose Rye.
Okay, there we go. Next project to put on the list, man. The Bourbon Life crowdfunding Kickstarter for the distillery.
We can raise money for Steel Time.
Yeah, there you go. That's right, man. All right, so guys, let's get some nosing notes on this one. What do you get? Matt, we'll always start with you, man. So I'll just jump over to you since this is your bottle, so you get to start us out, man.
It's got a spicy nose. At first, I picked up a little bit of ethanol. There was a little bit of a burn, but since it's been in the glass, it's really chilled out quite a bit.
Yeah,
and it's gotten really sweet. I almost pick up like grape bubble gum.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
My jam.
It's got like the grape and the bubble gum on it. It's got a nice sweet note, but there is like something a little herbal, a little mint coming in the backside of it as well.
I was thinking spearmint.
Yeah, that was the first thing I picked out was a mint, just a mintiness. But as it said in the glass, Matt, I went back to it when you're talking and saying that it was getting sweeter, and I agree it is. But when you say grape bubblegum, it's like, holy crap. I mean, that I really picked that out. There's no doubt about it. What about you, Chad?
I'm getting a nice little clove note going on, but at first it was nothing but ethanol.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm trying to
air it. Swirl it and let it.
I've not swirled mine enough.
There you go. Philip, what about you, man?
Yeah, I definitely get the spearmint on it, and then that sweet, like Matt said, like that grape. I don't know if it's bubble gum to me, but I do get that sweet fruit note on there.
Yeah, it's like a it's funny what it reminds me of, Matt, when you said grape bubble gum. Now that I'm smelling it, reminds me when I was a little kid, my granny used to make grape Kool-Aid for me all the time in the summer for all my cousins. So that was the big thing. You get hot outside playing and you run inside, you grab a little plastic pitcher or glass pitcher of grape Kool-Aid. And this is reminiscent when you said that grape's coming through for some reason now.
Yeah, it's like the Kool-Aid that just turns your whole mouth purple. When you're a kid and you're like running around the neighborhood with a purple mouth.
Purple lips. Everybody's like, oh my God, he can't breathe. Look at him. So, help him. But no, yeah, that's funny, man. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about you guys. I mean, I call you guys part of the Bourbon Life crew because you've helped us with what we do. Chad, you obviously run My Daily Bourbon, but why don't you talk a little bit about that, what you do, and how you got in the industry?
I started My Daily Bourbon as a way to just get whiskey off my private page because my girlfriend was getting a little annoyed that I never posted pictures of us going out to dinner or doing anything else. It was just look at this bottle of whiskey I got today.
And this is on Instagram.
Yes, this is on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's the only social networking I have besides TikTok, and we don't talk about TikTok.
Yeah.
But my buddy David suggested that I start a whiskey Instagram, and I'm like, that's a damn good idea. I'm going to do that. So I started My Daily Bourbon thinking every day I'm going to try and review something.
No, man, that's jeez. I'm like,
lot.
yeah, that is.
That's alcoholism in the making. So I probably did do a review every day for about a month and a half. And then after that, I was like, I'm going to take a few days off.
Yeah.
Because I can't, to sit and drink something, analyze it. I like to give at least 20, 30 minutes to do so and have a couple pours of it. And then some nights I'd be getting like slightly hammered and have to work the next day. But
just slightly? Come on, man.
I'd stop when I get to the point where it's like, I don't know, it all smells the same. It all tastes the same.
Caramel and vanilla.
Yeah. Caramel and vanilla all the way.
Yeah.
Those wild turkey notes.
Tastes like bourbon.
Tastes like bourbon. Tastes like bourbon.
But
no doubt.
I eventually just got to where like I'm going to try and post whiskey every day. I may not do that. Now it's kind of a either before I go to work or when I get home from work, or if we get like a cool bottle in at work, then I'll post a bottle or a picture of it there. Like, hey, this just came in. Those of you who've already gotten it or are excited about it, what do you think? What are your expectations? So I try and do something that involves engagement every single day, whether it be a review, like a post, or something along the lines of like just polling questions in my story.
Right.
Go to this post, comment, and let's have a conversation type deal.
Yeah. And then you started writing reviews with us. My gosh, was it last year or was it earlier? I can't remember.
No, it was last fall.
Well, I was going to say
it was last year.
Yeah. We've been a little lax on that over the last, month or so, but it's summertime, right? So you can kind of kick back and take a little break on that. But yeah, so I appreciate that you've helped us because we put up a daily post. I'm not, it's the running joke that my palate's just not the strongest, and it's not something I commit the time to, like you have. Obviously, you sit down, you take your time, you make your notes, you go back and revisit, you really think it through. I drink it caramel vanilla, and then I got Matt that has all his tasting notes, and it makes the show work really well. But it's not something I can sit down and do. So. And Matt's just too busy.
Yeah.
Between work and training, man, it's like, hey, Matt, can you take another extra hour or 2 or 3 and work on a review? So it was great though, because you and I met obviously, and from the store. I think, was that how we met, or was it through Instagram? I can't remember now, Chad.
I believe it was through Instagram first.
Okay, and
then
gotcha.
We met at Total Wine.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. So, I was like, how do we meet? But yeah, I appreciate you doing that and writing reviews, and we were doing those on Thursdays. And then we started doing some Instagram lives. That was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then my work schedule was like, those Thursdays where you were getting off early.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because we all work, and it's as much fun as this is. It's a lot of work to do them, to do a video, to do a review, to do a podcast. And if your schedule doesn't permit it, man, it's just, there's nothing you can do about it.
Can't be living the bourbon life 24/7.
Sometimes you just got to take a step back, right? You got to take that step back. But yeah, we need to get back to that reviewing, Chad, but I appreciate that. So that's, I always consider you to be part of the Bourbon Life crew.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys.
And something we're going to talk about in our third round that you also were instrumental in as well. So we'll definitely talk about that a little.
Going back to your reviewing and palate, did you win or come in second at a contest?
That's right.
Second in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Second in Kentucky.
The man with the second best palate.
Yeah.
The beard of knowledge.
The beard of knowledge. The beard of bourbon knowledge.
And that's the gimmick. Since Mark said that, that's the gimmick I've ran with. Like, I lost by 1 point, Matt. Well,
So tell our
On
listeners
point.
about the contest.
Yeah, tell everybody what that was.
No,
so-
don't be bashful here. Come on.
I entered the Bardstown Bourbon Company World's Top Whiskey Taster. It was just a video submission, why you think you should be in it. And mine was like, here are some bottles to like outweigh allocated bottles. You know, you're looking for XYZ, here's ABC that can get you kind of close at a fraction of the price. You know, something to kind of see if you even are going to like that bottle. And that got me in. And then the competition was fun. It was, unfortunately, because of COVID, it was all done, you know, virtually, it was still fun. And it was like 3, maybe 5 rounds. I can't remember. There was like you'd have a round and then there'd be like a section in between. But you got graded on everything you did. And it could be guess the proof of this bourbon, which is it, you know, like 80 to 90, 90 to 95, 95 to 100, 100 plus. Guess the age of this. Is it, you know, 9, 10 years, 11, 12, 6 to 8?
Wow.
And then there was like, guess this. What is this whiskey? Is it Irish? Is it single malt? Is it Scotch, rye, bourbon? And then you had to give a presentation on, like, you know, you put together a flight. What is your flight? What's the meaning of your flight? Why? How would you sell that to somebody?
Yeah.
My flight was just 3 bourbons or 3 whiskeys, because one was a rye, all around 6 years old. From I had Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, and Jim Beam, and they were all bottles that were under like $25. Like, here's 3 things you should try from this distillery. See if you even like that profile. And I scored very well through the entire thing. And then the lady who beat me, I think her name was Sarah. I should probably know this, but she beat me by
1 point.
1 point.
Damn. Yeah, and then what's the guy? I don't know his name that won it, but he's ADHD Whiskey, right?
ADHD Whiskey, Matt on YouTube.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did very well. So apparently the whole time, that last portion of the contest where they actually went to Bardstown Bourbon Company,
right.
I guess he just like queen sweep.
Wow. Yeah, I remember seeing all the posts on Instagram about that, but I'd seen him on YouTube, the ADHD, and I thought he's funny. I mean, I think that he's a funny guy. You know, I mean, he's knowledgeable. Have you ever seen him, Matt? Or
No, I've not seen it.
Yeah, he's Philip. Are you familiar?
I don't know who he is. I'm gonna check him out though.
Yeah, ADHD Whiskey, which is very appropriate because some of his videos, it's just like, yeah, I could see him being ADHD. There's no question about it, you know. But well, congratulations though on that, man. I mean, still, that was funny because when we were putting up one of your reviews, I always trying to come up with some funny, like the man that's living the flat bill life, because you love your flat bills. You know?
I do love my flat bills.
Yeah, the bourbon beard of knowledge, and then the man with the second best palate in Kentucky.
I'm gonna make that a T-shirt.
Yeah, you should,
and give that like every man needs that T-shirt.
Yeah, the second best palate in Kentucky. All right. Well, I tell you what, Philip, we'll talk about you in the second segment,
Sounds
man.
good.
Yeah, so we don't have to, try to jam your stuff in. I'm just keeping an eye on our time here. But so let's talk more about the rye itself. Matt, you're getting comfortable over there, man. You're like in the yogi position.
I'm always,
just
always
like
comfortable in the
like
Bourbon Life Studios.
ready to do
here.
some transcendental meditation, enjoy my rye, and
It's a beautiful thing.
what are the spirits telling you about this spirit? Let's hear it.
Oh, that's a good rhyme.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Mark's dropping his EP next weekend.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just like the palate, or just like the nose. At first, I thought the palate was really hot.
Yeah.
The first sip almost kind of blew things out, blew out my palate a little bit on the water, but it came around, and now I'm picking up like really pronounced honeycomb, a little bit of like clover on it as well is coming through. It's got some sort of like a sweet smokiness
Yeah.
that I'm picking up. I think maybe some of the barrel age and the char is coming through on that, but there's like a touch of a smokiness, but it's got a nice cinnamon finish, a little bit of mint, a little coming down the line. It's
All right,
good. It's
so
well round.
I'm going to say something crazy, which I do on a regular basis. But this, I don't drink scotch, but this almost has like a scotch taste to me. I don't know why, but you guys are looking at me like I'm crazy, which I get it. But there's something about it that it's just coming across to me as I don't know if it's the smokiness, Matt, if it's that something about it that's coming through that's, anyway.
There is a smokiness in there. I can see that. But
But to me, that when I think of a scotch, I think of like
peated,
and it's that smokiness that just sometimes it's like, wow, that's it's not as pronounced, but I'm getting like a smokiness off of it. So maybe I'm just relating it because I don't drink Scotch at all. But when I think of Scotch, I just think of smoked peat. So anyway,
well, I think part of it could be where Matt said it's sweet, and I do think it has a very sweet front. Yeah. On the front of the palate, it's very sweet. So it could be the malt, like the malt's showing through, very sweet, and then you're getting that smokiness from the char.
I think that's what it is. I was
wondering if you know the mash bill on this, or
I don't, and I to be honest, I didn't do enough research into this one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's okay, man.
It's very sweet, and like to me, I get like a spearmint bubble gum, like the spearmint chewing gum, not like the sweet chewing gum, but like Wrigley's
or something.
That's what I taste.
I got you. Yeah,
I can see what you're saying, Philip. I get like a menthol burn coming down the end. Like the heat is like that refreshing, cool menthol mouthwash type burn.
Yeah,
in a good way though. No, it's not like we're not drinking Scope over here.
Yeah, I get you, man. Yeah, officer, it's Scope. It's not rye whiskey. I don't know what you're talking about. I have minty fresh breath. I see that and I get that. The sweetness, but there was something about that finish to me that just came across, and it could be like you said, it could be a little bit of that malt coming through, depending on what the mash bill is. But combined with that smokiness, and it just kind of triggered something to me that kind of made me think almost like a Scotch. Or single malt, something.
Well, now that you say that, so usually like a big note on Scotch is like ginger and honey.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's just the mental thing.
Yeah.
But I am getting a little bit of ginger on the back end, so
okay,
I can really see that.
So I'm not completely crazy, but it's funny because I do like this, because I'm not a Scotch drinker at all, so I'm not much of a Scotch fan, but I actually do like this one. But I do like the that mintiness, Matt, that you talked about. It's like you drink it and then you feel your mouth. It's like when you gargle or something, and you take that first deep breath and your mouth kind of tingles. I kind of get that. Philip, you're shaking your head.
Yeah,
so.
that's exactly how it is for me.
Yeah, yeah, very, very cool. Matt, what you picking up over there on the bottle?
Just there, not anything on the bottle about the mash bill or where it was produced or anything. So
yeah,
we're a little bit.
That's okay,
a little
man.
blind on this
that's
one.
Okay. Well,
I feel like it's definitely not a Kentucky rye. Like I think it's higher in the rye than what we would typically get around here.
It's not a barely legal Kentucky like a 51% rye. It's probably got that higher content to it. Mm-hmm. So I wonder what they use though, because seems like there's those three different bills. Like you get a 51 Kentucky rye, or you get that 95.5.
You got like Wilderness Trail, it's like 64%
or
rye.
You're getting that mid 60s on the rye. So I don't know, but I'm thinking that might be where we are in this. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say like that mid level.
Yeah,
is what I feel like it probably be.
What do you think, Matt?
I was guessing more like a Pennsylvania, New York rye that we've seen, which are like some 74s or like 77s.
Okay. I got you. Yeah,
would be my guess in there.
We'll have to go back and you'll have to research that one, Matt.
I know. I should have researched this in advance.
Well, we didn't know what we were drinking, man. That's the fun. That's the magic of recording, off the cuff a little bit here. Oh, we got it, Chad.
I don't have their mash bill, but I am on their website.
Okay.
So it does mention it is a smoky rye, sweet with cocoa notes on the nose. I didn't get the cocoa. I got that nice grape bubble gum, but a resiny black pepper baking spice for the finish. Very vague, but I feel like that it kind of matches what we were saying.
Yeah, but nothing about the mash bill, so we're kind of.
It says it was curated before they opened their distillery, and that 76 barrels were aged in Kentucky and 24 were aged in Washington D.C. in Calvert's Cooperage barrels, and the Kentucky barrels were independent stave. So. They give me all that information, but not the mash bill.
But not the mash bill. It's undisclosed.
I want to know more about the crowdsourcing.
I know. It's like,
get a whiskey started.
Can they tell us how we can start our own distillery, please, by asking people for money? I think that'd be
I think that's how you do it. You just ask people for money,
ask
right?
people for money, right? Okay. Yeah, we could do that.
Done.
All right, guys. Well, we're already like almost 25 minutes deep into this, man. So I guess we should probably take a break, get a word from our sponsor, but before we do that, what do you think? Final thoughts on the rye here?
I like it. I think I'm enjoying the part of this too that we don't really know a whole lot here.
Yeah.
This was a gift from my sister from a distillery I'd never heard of in DC, and I'm enjoying it. I think I don't know anything about the price. We know nothing about the mash bill. We know It's either Independent Stave or Calvin Cooperage, since it's a single barrel, 5-year-old, 100 proof. I think it drinks a little hotter than 100 proof.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think this is great.
And it was from what do they call it?
What is it? It is Republic Restorative's Distillery in Washington, D.C.
And this is their Purpose Rye.
Rye.
Okay. All right. Yeah, as long as it was reasonably priced, I could see buying this. You know, I'm not going to go out and spend
$69.
$69.
And I found their bourbon mash bill.
Uh-huh.
So going by this of 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley, which is the MGP low rye.
Gotcha.
This could either be MGP's low rye mash rye whiskey or their 95.5. It doesn't drink like a 95.5.
It doesn't at all. Yeah, I agree with that. So, interesting, man. Good research skills there. That's awesome. Thanks, Chad. All right, guys. Let's take a quick break. Well, I enjoyed it, Matt.
I did too. Very good.
I think it's good. The price, I guess I get the way the whiskey market is right now.
Yeah.
That's probably the going rate. But I would say if it was like a $30 bottle, it'd be definitely buy it all day.
Yeah, it'd be a no-brainer. But
hell yeah.
But it was a gift, so that's even better, right, Matt? So
Double no-brainer.
Kudos to Matt's sister for scoring a bottle of rye that we got to enjoy tonight. Definitely. All right, guys. So let's take a break, and we'll be back with more with the Bourbon Life Crew in just a minute. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. When you're out hunting for those hard-to-find bottles or just enjoying the distilleries of Central Kentucky, you're going to work up an appetite. And when it's time to refuel, we suggest that you visit our good friends Rebecca and Eric Burnworth at the Stave Restaurant. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, close to Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, the Stave Restaurant is just off the beaten path, nestled on the banks of Glens Creek. With a newly redesigned menu, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day featuring an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. You can take our word for it. The food alone is worth the trip to the Stave. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. And you can even purchase bottles of bourbon to take home with you while you're there. Make sure to follow the Stave on Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky, or visit them online at thestavekentucky.com to stay up to date on everything that's going on. The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise, right here in the heart of bourbon country. All right, everybody, welcome back for round session period, whatever, number 2 of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, live in the Bourbon Life Studios, otherwise known as my basement, is my good friend with the short hair, no beanie, no toboggan tonight, nothing. Matt. Matt, what's going on, man?
Hey, not much, Mark. How you doing, man?
Doing good. You got to feel so much just like a weight lifted off your shoulders, though. With
Legitimately,
I can't stop looking at you.
Literally,
Matt. I can't stop looking at you. I'm just,
I had weight lifted off my shoulder. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, who is that guy, dude? I've not seen you with short hair in 2 years, right?
I was worried that I was going to cut it all off, and now I'm going to realize, oh my God, I'm actually bald. Just been pulling my hair back for so long and covering up all these patches, and I very well may be. I haven't seen, but it's just running my hands through my head and across my hair and across my scalp. I'm like, oh man, I found a couple of scars. Like, oh yeah, I got staples there.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Oh man, that's crazy, dude. Crazy. Well, but I'm glad we're together in the Bourbon Life Studios with our Bourbon Life crew.
That's right.
We got Chad and Philip with us tonight, so we got to talk a little bit about Chad and what he does with My Daily Bourbon on Instagram. So Philip, well, hey, I almost did it. Let's talk about what we're drinking first, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So Chad, you've got this one. I'm sorry, you don't have the bottle, but
No.
You know all about it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell everybody what we're drinking. You brought this one with you, so.
I did. We are drinking Benchmark Foolproof,
Okay.
Indiana only, and I think this cost me about $18 and some change.
So this was, did I say 125 proof?
125 proof. Buffalo Trace juice. I'm assuming just some good old 4-year-old barrel proof, or foolproof, not barrel proof, but foolproof BT juice.
What's the difference between foolproof and barrel proof?
Foolproof usually denotes that it is what it went into the barrel at.
Okay.
So like Weller Foolproof's 114, so that gets watered down to, it gets put in the barrel at 114 proof. If it comes out at 120, they're going to proof it down to 114.
114.
1792 Foolproof, 125 proof, same thing. So with this, it could have came out at 140 proof, but it's going down to 125.
Which is what they barrel, which is the legal max you can barrel at is 125. See, we like to be informative for everybody on the show, but we're talking about when you said full proof versus barrel proof, because I think there's people out there that probably
mix the two,
hear the word full proof and instantly think that it means it's a barrel proof.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 165 off the still, right? And then
160.
160 off the still, and then 125 of the barrel.
They can't distill it at higher than 160, and then they can't barrel it at higher than 125, which a lot of the distilleries do. But then there's quite a few of them out there now that are going. Well, Maker's Mark, they bottle at what, 110.
110. Michter's was what, 107.
Yeah, Michter's is like super low.
Yeah, which is crazy because the cost that goes. Well, what did Denny say? It costs them like $3 million or more extra a year, probably. Is that what he said? It was something crazy just in terms of the extra barrels that they had to buy, and then you're building more rick houses to hold it because you've got more barrels because you're watering. Well, you're proofing down. You shouldn't say you're watering down your whiskey, but they're proofing it down before they barrel it. So, but that was good because to explain the difference between full proof and barrel proof, because I think some people see full proof and they, like I said, they just assume that means it's barrel proof, but it's actually proofed down to whatever. But no, let me ask. Well, at 4 years old, I guess you're not going to really go down in proof.
No, honestly, there's probably not too much water added to this at 4 years old.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably maybe seen 130. So
yeah, but now you get some bourbons that actually lose their proof; they drop down. Mm-hmm. So I guess you couldn't use it then, could you? Because you can't. I mean, if you're below 125,
I'm sure that those barrels are destined for something different.
Else?
Yeah, these are probably like top house scorchers.
The seventh floor barrels that you just throw
that's
up
why
there.
they have the Indiana onlys. That's why they've got 5 different ones. So they can, whatever they lose, they can put it in something else.
So yeah. So why is this Indiana only? Do you know? Anybody know?
Something about being. I know it's not because Indiana's not a big whiskey market because it's huge, but I guess just testing it out to see how it would go, and they knew in Kentucky, of course, because usually your test markets are like your ABC states: Virginia, Ohio, sometimes Florida. Gotcha. Texas and Kentucky are the 2 biggest bourbon states. So I guess they just probably were like, we'll go somewhat close to Kentucky so all these people can drive an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, get it.
Yeah.
I feel like if that was here, it would be just like every other Buffalo Trace product. You'd never be able to find it. So
yeah,
100%.
And or it would be $100 a bottle.
And how much was this, Chad?
Less than $19.
Okay, well that's good to know. I'll be in Louisville tomorrow, so I can run across the river and pick up a bottle if I like it. Let's talk about what are you picking up on tasting notes, Matt? You're over there working it, man.
I know you're always throwing it to me first.
Okay, I'll throw it to Philip. What are you picking up on it, man?
So
Give Matt more time.
I definitely get some caramel and some oak, but I get like a strong cherry or strawberry on Benchmark. I always get a strong
strawberry.
And I don't want to jump ahead too much, but and I was telling them before this that I always get a weird note with this, and it's when I was a kid, I would take a red Starburst and a pink Starburst and smash them together and eat them.
Yeah.
It's my favorite way to eat Starburst. And I taste it.
And that's what you taste.
And it's in any of the Benchmarks, the whole lineup. Like I
Really?
get it every single time.
That's pretty funny. But now that strawberry, as soon as you said the strawberry, I was like, yeah, that's kind of funny because I don't know that I've ever smelled strawberry in a bourbon or picked it up on the nose. So
I get that on a lot of Four Roses.
You get strawberries? Do you really?
Yeah, the red fruit I usually associate with Four Roses is kind of like a raspberry, strawberry.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Huh, interesting, man. So, Matt, what are you picking up on this one? Do you pick that up? Or
I had oranges. I picked up like a zesty orange on the nose.
Gotcha.
And then I also, like one of the first things that really hit me was sawdust. Mm-hmm. I picked up sawdust, and then it got a little sweeter, and I'm picking up like gingerbread, like a gingerbread house.
Gotcha.
If you can think of like the smell of that. So like a little molasses, a little bit of clove, cinnamon, ginger, but like a baked gingerbread house.
Yeah. Chad, what about you, man?
Well, I'm not getting Christmas in a glass, but I do wish we had Christmas weather right now.
Yeah, you and I both.
Yeah, compared to this craziness.
I kind of get a blend of everything. I can get the ginger and the clove, usually on Benchmark products like that ripe red fruit that you suggest, but kind of like a little bit of a brown sugar cola note in there too. So kind of a culmination of everything, but usually that ripe red fruit. So I usually wouldn't say strawberry, but now that you said that, I'm like,
I know
that is
I can't get past
that
this
is like strawberry jam or like
it
spread.
is, man. It reminds me like a jar of Smuckers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy that the sweet and the strawberry, and it's just man.
And anytime I taste Benchmark, it doesn't matter what I've eaten that day. I get it instantly every time.
How funny. Yeah, man. That's what's coming through now. I'm picking up some ethanol, some alcohol off of this one now for some reason. Maybe I'm like you, Chad. I need to swirl this one around just a little bit more. But that's strawberry.
It's gonna take it a little bit.
it's going to take a while for sure. So Philip, all right, man. Let's talk a little bit about you on this round, and tell us a little bit about how you got into the bourbon world and what you do and everything. Because you work a regular job, like we do, which is not in the bourbon industry.
Yes,
right?
I have a government job, so I have.
And that'll drive you to drink
yes.
bourbon, right?
Yes.
So there you go.
100%.
Yeah,
you
so
never know what
perfect.
you're going to get every day when you go to work.
It's perfect. Yeah, the perfect job for a bourbon connoisseur. I get it.
So, I've born and raised in Kentucky, grew up in Frankfort. My grandparents retired from Buffalo Trace. So
did they really?
It's always just been.
I don't think I knew that, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They retired from there. Elmer T. Lee was their boss.
Wow.
So so I think they retired in the early '90s. So they had been there for a while, and bourbon's always just been one of those things, like the smell of the mash in the air. Like it's just I've grown up my whole life, so I didn't really appreciate it until later on. I guess about 6-7 years ago, I was like, me and my wife were talking one day. We were like, we need something to do, and she was like, well, we're very bad Kentuckians. We've never done the bourbon trail, so let's go do it. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And then, so we started going around different tours. The only time I had drank bourbon was in high school.
Sure.
And that was AAA, which I wish now I had that bottle. So I was like, I can appreciate it now.
Yeah.
But then we started going around. The first bourbon I fell in love with was Bulleit. I really liked it. And then I started trying new stuff. Well, then Liquor Barn was doing the email releases. And then I was like, okay, so now my goal was, let's collect all the bottles, or, I'm going to try to get every bottle that Buffalo Trace produces, since they're the only distillery right here in Frankfurt.
Wow.
I got about halfway through, and then everything exploded into, now you're not going to find anything. So,
and then they released that $2,000 bottle of Eagle Rare double or whatever.
And then and then actually, when I met you and Matt at the Amaranth Grain E.H. Taylor release, and I had friends tell, oh, you're into bourbon. When are they releasing this stuff? And I kept telling them, sign up for Liquor Barn's emails. They'll send you an email like a couple days out, and then you can go. And they kept saying, well, they never send me emails. I signed up. So then that's why I started my Instagram page. I was like, well, obviously these people aren't getting the emails. And my original goal was, in late 2019, I was like, well, Liquor Barn sends out the email. I'll just copy and paste the pictures. I reached out to Liquor Barn to make sure they were fine with me sharing their stuff.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I started doing that, and then COVID hit. And then I'm like, well, I've got this, this Instagram page and nothing to put on it. So, and that's why it's titled, Bourbon Hunting KY is, releases in Kentucky. So then I was like, well, I like taking pictures. So I just started taking pictures of my bottles, and people enjoy my photos, and that's actually panned out into actual paid work now. Yeah. So
very cool.
That's sitting in line with you guys. Like that's how I.
that was a fun time, man. We had a good time. That
was a good night.
Yeah. For I was there for 2 nights. You guys missed out on that first. You weren't there for the first night.
No,
I was me and
I got there
people, I think,
on Friday night about 5:00, and I was 9th in line, and of course I had 6 bottles.
Y'all are dedicated.
So,
Well, Matt came over. I remember talking to him. I'm like, all right, dude, there's so many people. There's this many people. There's that many people. So you came over that Friday afternoon, I think. Was that right?
Yeah, I came over Friday afternoon, and actually I got the last bottle of Amaranth.
That's right.
Yeah, I ended up with a 1792 12-year aged. That's what I got that time.
Which, I mean, still, we just had a fun time, man.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Was that the night that we, smoked cigars and and I brought all those bottles up there?
Oh yeah, I got to taste some unicorns that night. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, guys, I'll be, and here's the thing, and I'm gonna just say this because there's bourbon hunters out there that you step out of line and I'm throwing your chair out in the damn parking lot, man, and you're never coming back. But then, like, every time I've been at Liquor Barn, everybody's like, all right, dude, your chair's here. You've been here for 8 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, 50, whatever. You want to go get something to eat? You want to run back to your house and change clothes or do whatever? We're cool with that, you know? And everybody's been really, really cool about that. So that night, I guess it was Friday night, right? I was like, I'm going to run home and grab some bourbon. And I came back with like a box full of.
Oh yeah, you brought some good bottles.
Yeah, like
back,
anybody's going to object to that. Like everyone will like, no, man, you're bringing back bourbon. Back of the line, fella.
We had Michter's Toasted Barrel Rye.
Man, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake I've ever made in my life was taking my only bottle of. No, it was fun. I enjoyed sharing that, man. But that's a bottle I was like, man, I wish I still had more of that. But we had the Old Saint Nick. We had the Summer Rye and the Harvest Rye. I think I brought some of that up there. Maybe some
I know the Old Saint Nick, and then there was the Rare Perfection 15, and then I think you brought an Old Carter out there too.
I have it, probably that Old Carter Rye that I've got. So
it was a killer night.
That was fun. I think one of those guys was he from Ohio or somewhere that he got sick or something?
Oh yeah, when the cigars got broke out, he tried to smoke them like cigarettes. So yeah, it didn't end well for him.
Oh man, but that's what bourbon, man. That I've missed that over the last year, and it's even as an attorney, it's like people are like, "What? You camp out for bourbon?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I mean, I enjoy it, man. It's fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun to hang out with people and get to meet people." And yeah, you're part of the crew. You've helped us on our website, so it's really a cool opportunity to get to meet people, man.
Yeah. And I appreciate you all, asking me because I enjoy it. That, this is a good hobby for me that, it's something I really enjoy. And I like doing stuff on the computer. So, post it on the website or pictures or, sharing stories.
Yeah. So now you're doing some work. Are you working with some other people now or?
Yes. So I'm actually started because of the Bourbon Life. I've actually started working with Country Smooth.
Nice. Yeah.
I've been doing photographs for them, some website work, and it's been great.
Cool,
and,
man.
You asked me to come out to their little
release
party.
And then I wasn't there.
Yeah. And then
Matt wasn't there. It's like neither one of us showed up, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Way to go, Bourbon Life.
Bourbon Life drops the ball, man.
It worked.
It worked for you, though, right?
It worked out for me, yeah.
It worked out great for you, man. So
Had Mark been there, you might not have got that gig.
I know.
I would have been like, Lori, no, you can't. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that's cool, though. I'm glad that's happened for sure. So, well, Matt, now something great's got to happen with you, right? So we got Philip that's working with Country Smooth now, and of course Chad was already doing his thing, man. So the Bourbon Life,
kidding.
Bourbon Life really hasn't really, done a whole lot for him. He's helped us more probably than we've helped him.
I just appreciate being involved in something. So
yeah,
Oh yeah. And Instagram is how I met Chad. He posted a story one day and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting a logo made," and I was like, okay.
That's right.
And I was at
he made
work,
my
so
logo.
I was at work, and I, put one together for him in like 20 minutes. I was like, here, you like this one?
That's really cool, man.
Nice. It's always great to hear how the bourbon brings us together, right?
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's funny when you say it to people, man, but it's all about the people and the stories and the memories, because we've got some fun. We've had some fun times drinking bourbon and camping out.
And I heard a rumor that Liquor Barn's been holding back a lot of bottles, and in the fall they're going to start releases again. So whether that pans out or not, but
I can believe that.
yeah, apparently they've been holding back all the like heavy hitter bottles. They've been holding them back for releases.
Put your chairs out now.
I was going to say, I'm going to go ahead and get my lawn chair and my
Mark's first in line 6 months out.
Your duck blind.
Get my duck blind and my propane heater.
I might do my first camp out with you guys.
Yeah,
Oh, it'll be fun. Yeah, live podcast right from
well,
the-
that's what we've talked about.
I've been talking about doing that since we started this, having like a 4 a.m. podcast outside the liquor store where we just interview whoever's in line.
Can you imagine? I mean, I can see part of it being funny, but I can see part of it being like the guy throwing up. It's like, I don't. But no, I think that would be fun to do a podcast to record
and
up there.
there's people from all. I mean, at some of those releases, I've met people from Columbus, Ohio. I met some people from Indianapolis. There was even a guy at one of the Pappy releases. He was from Kansas City.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, you drove that far? He's like, I want a chance to buy a Pappy. So I'm just like,
well, that's how Matt and I met. Was at a Pappy lottery. Was it Pappy or was it?
It was Pappy.
Yeah, it's Pappy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Not like we won anyway.
I know we got skunked, but just happened to be standing beside each other, and my friend I was there with was talking to me about Iron Man. I'll never forget. Matt just kind of looks over at me. He's like, "You're an Iron Man?"
No, I did not say that. Come on. I didn't know. You make it sound like a terrible person here. No,
you're not a terrible person, Matt. But I am not. When I say I'm an Iron Man, I'm not anywhere close to what people would think about what an Iron Man would or should look like. So
hey, you made the 140.6 mile trip. You're an Iron Man.
I did it, but yeah. So we just started talking over that, and then Liquor Barn up there has the tasting bar and everything, so it was easy to go up there and grab a draft or whatever and have a pour of bourbon and
pick up your mail.
Pick up my mail, yeah. The mayor of Liquor Barn.
Yeah.
But I saw Matt in there a couple weeks later. Man, we just started talking, so we just hang out there and drink, and then the one lady said that she came over and said, it's just so nice that you can come up here and drink with your son. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He's not my son. Goodness gracious. But
I see the resemblance.
You see the resemblance, yeah.
That's it.
The family resemblance is there.
Yeah, you're
right?
both drinking bourbon. So.
Yeah.
Oh man! So speaking of drinking bourbon, we should probably talk a little bit about the bourbon. So what about tasting notes, guys? Finish, palate. What do you got?
I'm gonna say one thing here, and don't judge me.
No judgment zone. This is a no judgment zone.
But reminds me a lot of Dr. Pepper.
Really?
So
okay.
That spice you get off Dr. Pepper, and then the red fruit, the vanilla. There's a little bit of caramel in Dr. Pepper. Like I get all of that in this, and I think that's why I like it so much.
Because it's
I
like
can see that.
an alcohol like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, just no fizz.
No fizz. Matt, what about you, man?
I really agree with you, Chad. I was thinking you had mentioned something about like a cola on the nose.
Yeah.
And I picked that up really early, and the Dr. Pepper really comes through. Unfortunately, I think for me, this is a miss. Even at the price point. There's something about Buffalo Trace. They have a certain mash bill that is also regular Buffalo Trace that for me is just too much butterscotch, too much
It's not
like
your jam.
corn, and
Yeah.
it's a miss, and I think this falls in there for me. So unfortunately, I got to say, at the price, at the proof,
Yeah.
don't let me discourage anyone, but I don't know if you would find this on my bar.
Yeah. No, at the price and the proof, that would probably be the reason why I do buy it.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be the cheapest 125 proof on the market. I mean, I would think it has to be under $20
Until Trader Joe's comes out with theirs.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I can't, I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain, think of something that I can't think of anything that's.
I don't know if anything that's that high in proof that's under $30.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I can't.
no
I
idea.
can't think of anything either. So, so Phil, let's talk about our. We got a little contest going on. So let's want to tell everybody what we're doing with the Bourbon Life on there.
yeah. So we're doing a contest that's the Bourbon Hunting Goat. We have linked up with the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Country Smooth is going to pitch in some swag, some merchandise. We've got a tour position or a place for a tour for 2 people at Bardstown Bourbon Company. Already booked. We're just waiting for the winner to plug their name in. So it'll be like a whole weekend event. Like the winner will get tickets on for the Friday and the Sunday of the Bourbon Festival, and then Saturday we've got them a tour booked for the Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah.
And so all you have to do to enter is snap a picture of your bottles that you're buying.
That you're buying. The bottles that
you're buying, yes.
And it has to be after, because we announced it June 1st, right?
Yes. So you got June 1st until, I believe, June 25th.
July
25th, yeah.
Like July, I think it's July 25th.
So you take a picture of your bottle and your receipt so that we can see the date. We don't need to see your name. We need to see the purchase price and the date on the receipt.
And your credit card number if you got one.
And then all you have to do is use the hashtag Bourbon Hunting Goat, all one word, and then you're entered. And
Yeah.
we're gonna sit down as I guess the Bourbon Life crew, and we're gonna figure out who is the official Bourbon Hunting Goat. I know we've got some top contenders already.
Oh, yeah,
that have
man.
been really cranking out the rare, hard to find bottles. So
Yep.
Everybody outside of Virginia, you need to get to work.
Yeah. So if you are the greatest of all time, you need to let us know and get the bottles in. And it has to be, like you said, after June 1st. So you can't post up any receipts that you purchased before, and it can't be something through we decided nothing through a lottery, nothing through.
Yeah, no lottery bottles.
Yeah.
No, and of course no secondary. That's why we asked for the receipt, because you can find really good bottles on the secondary.
Sure.
Yeah, we want it to be, we want to support retail stores and highlight, the people that are getting it actually for retail price, and not the stores that are charging, $200, $300 for a bottle that should be $60.
And we want to know how you're doing it too,
Yes.
so we can go out and then replicate that ourselves.
Yes.
So the whole contest is just our way of trying to figure out how we can find
Yeah,
this.
trying to pick your brain and get your secrets.
So we're going to crowdsource a house in Virginia. And
There you go.
Yeah.
The Bourbon Life house.
Actually, what we're really doing is just collecting the address on the receipts to figure out where these stores are.
There you
There's
go.
a nice
Right.
Excel spreadsheet somewhere
Yeah.
that I've got all these
We're
good
going
stores.
to case out all these stores.
There you go. I think that's a great idea, Matt. I like
And
that.
I think the winner will probably be announced with the episode with the Kentucky Bourbon
Yeah, we're gonna
Festival
have-
when they
yep,
come on. Yeah,
yep,
so
we're gonna have Kentucky
everybody, the contest will end on the 25th, and then the following week, look for the podcast to release, and the
Yep.
winner will be announced there.
Yep.
And then the day after, we'll announce it on the Instagram page.
Yeah. So you have to listen on that episode that'll drop on that Friday, whatever. I can't remember what day that's going to be off the top of my head, but it's at the end of July. Our last episode for July on that Friday. So we'll announce our winner then. And great prizes. And Philip put this all together, man. It was his idea, and he did all the legwork to get it all together. So thanks for
that episode will drop on July 30th.
July 30th. Yeah. So and then we'll announce the winner on the show. So you'll be able to find out who the winner is. So you have to listen to the podcast. It's just our way of getting people to listen to the podcast, man, to see if they won the kick-ass. Oh, and the Bourbon Life, we're going to throw in some swag as well. I don't know what that's going to be just yet, but we got some stuff just tucked away here and there.
Yeah,
So.
and Chad was gracious enough to provide the tour at the Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Oh, man. Chad, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the least I could do for being the second best paladin.
All right, guys. Well, we've reached the end of round 2 here. So, Matt, I'm not even going to ask. I know final thoughts. All right. Wah, wah.
It happens. It happens.
That does. All right, Chad, final thoughts.
Yeah, it's my third bottle. Clearly, I think I like it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Philip, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, especially for the price. And like I said, the Starburst all day long.
That's so funny. But now, and I can't get the strawberries out of my head now.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah, so
Next time you go to the gas station, strawberry
Get some
and cherry
Starburst? Okay,
Starburst,
put 'em
squeeze them
together.
together, and then take a drink.
I got you.
Can't get the strawberries. I thought you said you can't get the cranberries.
in
my head.
Oh, man.
You just made my wife's night when she hears this. Yeah, she loves the
Oh,
cranberries.
yeah. Oh, my gosh, Matt. That was awful, but that was pretty funny, actually. So, yeah. Cranberry fields forever. No,
Yeah.
wait. No, okay.
Oh God, wrap this segment up. Yes, get us on to the third.
We've reached the end of round 2. Thank you for sticking around this long. Please stay around for round 3. We'll be back in just a minute with a little bit more with the Bourbon Life crew. So everybody just sit tight. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. We want to take just a second and tell you a little bit about 3 Chord Whiskey. 3 Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The 3 Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call perfectly tuned taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them all together. After each blend is completed, the 3 Chord team then applies their proprietary process of pyrolysis, that's a lot to say, isn't it? Which involves heating American oak to precise temperatures to release specific flavor and aroma compounds. Then they use another proprietary method called rhythmic disruption process, and that's more than just playing music to a bunch of barrels, which integrates all of those related compounds into the blended spirit. Finally, each small batch blend of 3 Chord is evaluated by a trained sensory panel to ensure an uncommon depth of flavor, character, aroma, and a perfectly tuned taste in each bottle. With their introductory blended bourbon, their Amplify Rye, Strange Collaboration, which is a Pinot Noir finished Kentucky bourbon, their 94 rated 12-bar reserve, and the brand new highly coveted 15-year Kentucky bourbon they call the Whiskey Drummer, there's a lot of options available from 3 Chord.
Like the feeling you get when you hear that perfect song, you'll know that the 3-Chord line of whiskeys are right from the first sip. They resonate with so much flavor, you'll want an encore. Find out more about 3-Chord whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.3chordbourbon.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final period of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Matt. Matt, how you doing over there?
Mark, I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
You know what? I'm doing better.
Funny how these things happen,
Funny,
right? Yeah.
Funny once we hit the third round, man, it's like, just sliding into home there almost. So,
Yeah,
it's going good. Going real good.
good, man. It's always great to be back. Good to be live again.
Yeah.
Some guests here, just having a good time.
Yeah, it's
sitting
fun.
around chewing the fat with the fellas.
Yeah, and I just realized I don't have the lights on in the basement. So, guys, it's like I kind of set the mood, I guess. I hope you're cool with that because I just, got the lamps on, no overhead lights, and
It's like the speakeasy feel.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like welcome to the basement speakeasy of the Bourbon Life. So one of these days, maybe we'll be able to do that down here. I hope. But yeah, so we have Chad and Philip with us today, and they are a part of our Bourbon Life crew. They do their own thing on Instagram as well. So, but we're happy to have you guys with us. And this round, man, I'm really excited about this round. This is something really, really, really special and near and dear to my heart. So, I guess I'll tell everybody what we got poured up here. This is the very first Bourbon Life single barrel pick. This is the first one we've ever done. Mm-hmm. And Matt and Chad and I did this. Philip, unfortunately, was invited but was not able.
Thanks a lot, COVID.
Yeah. Damn you, COVID.
Duty calls.
But yeah, so the three of us went out there the day after the ice storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we picked this barrel. So this is an 11-year-old. We think we know where it came from.
Mm-hmm. Bulleit.
Matt, you are exactly right.
That's right.
Yep.
It came from Bulleit.
100%.
Yes, it came from Bulleit, but we think we know maybe where it came from before it was at Bulleit. So this one has I don't remember the exact mash bill, but I know the rye content was right around that, let's say, 21%, something like that, I believe.
Either 20 or 21.
Yeah, 2021, something like that. But this is 104 proof, right? That's what they do their single barrels at. So, anyway, so we had a great time picking this. But guys, let's get some notes on it. What are you picking up on the note? Philip, you have not had this one, man, and I'm sorry about that. It's funny because we all had a little sample pack to bring home with us. But so what are you picking up since this is your first time with it, man?
It's the nose is very pleasant. It's really soft on the nose. You don't get really hardly any alcohol at all, or I don't.
Yeah.
And I definitely smell the rye. Like I definitely get a little bit of that rye spice. But yeah, overall it's a very nice smelling bourbon.
Nice. Chad, has it been a while since you've visited this one, or?
Yeah, so I had it in the flask because they gave us a flask.
We'll tell that story in a minute. Yeah,
but I poured that out into a separate bottle, and that was a couple months ago in golfing, and I smelled it then. But it's been a couple months. But yeah, the biggest thing I remember from this was like an apple butter. Like I just can't every time I smell it, it's just like an apple butter, heavy, spicy.
Spicy, yeah. Nice. Matt, what about you over there, man?
I was forgetting kind of how subtle fruit I got with it. I pick up plum. I pick up apricot. Now that you're saying apple butter, Chad, I'm picking some of that up too. But I was forgetting the fruit notes on it. And there's a good whiff of vanilla. And I remember, I think, when we were there, as this one sat in the glass, the nose just got sweeter and a little bit more pronounced. Yeah, with some of the other flavors as it aired out as well.
Yeah, and we had a great time doing this pick. It was the day after the ice storm back in February, and we drove over from Lexington. Chad met us over there, and it's so funny because Melissa, was that her name?
Melissa,
yeah.
She called us. We're supposed to be there, I think, at like 9 o'clock maybe or something that morning. Was it 9 o'clock?
9 a.m.
She called about 10 minutes before 9, and I answered the phone, and she's like, well, hey, we had the ice storm here, and I'm not sure. We've not talked to the distillery manager. We're not sure if we're really going to be open today. Are you guys here? And I'm like, yeah, we're like 5 minutes away. We just pulled off the interstate at the whatever exit, and she's like, "Oh, you're at that exit?" I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Okay, well, we'll just come on in." And just, be really careful when you're walking in, and we'll put some rugs and stuff out front. And you guys remember when we pulled in?
They literally were laying
Yeah,
the red carpet.
laying out the carpet for us.
It was hilarious, man. They had all those big commercial grade carpets laid out from the front door all the way out to the road. So I'm pretty sure that because we picked this one through West End Discount Wines and Liquors down in Nashville. So HP Harsh Patel down there, he's a great guy. But I talked to him. I got family in Nashville, and I've talked to him several times. So he asked me if we would be willing to do a barrel pick with him. And so he set it all up. So I'm sure Melissa thought that we had driven up from Nashville that morning. Now, has she known that we had just driven 45
Would have
minutes?
sent us right packing.
I have no doubt in my
Another day.
mind, dude.
Yeah, y'all need to turn back around.
Well, that's why, because when we got there, she was like, "Where'd you guys come in from?" I'm like, "From Lexington." I just saw this look on her face.
That stern just flat.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, well, that's why you were at that other exit." Because obviously, had we come in from Nashville, we would have taken the different. Yeah, we would come from the Louisville area. So she was pretty perplexed. And yeah, had I said, "Oh, yeah, we just drove in from Nashville," on the phone, my guess is she probably would have just said, "We're closed, go home." But we went, and I mean, there was nobody else there except some of the employees. But that's a cool facility. That's their new facility
Beautiful.
over there in It's Shelbyville, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're outside of Shelbyville. Have you guys been? Well, you've been there. Have you been? there, Phil?
No, I've been outside of it. I've seen it, but
Yeah.
I haven't been in the new.
Oh,
facility.
we got to go.
Damn, dude, that was gorgeous. And then we walked through the facility, and then we walked down those stairs. It's like you're going to a bomb shelter or something, right? It's like then all of a sudden you're down there. It's like, wow. I mean, that was pretty. What did you guys think? I mean, what was
You walk downstairs into the decision room.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
And they've laid out all the samples for us. We tasted initially 4 samples.
Yep.
And then they also had 2 extra barrels that she kicked in to add. So we had 6 different barrels to taste through.
It was a rough morning.
It was. It was a rough one for the Bourbon Life.
I've never had 6 pours that heavy of 104 proof whiskey ever at 9 a.m.
Oh, there's no doubt about
I
it,
don't think
man.
I've ever had a pour whiskey at 9 a.m.
Now, come on.
Some days
Maybe
it gets
11:30, but not 9.
Now, Chad, the bad thing is we didn't have any Doritos while we were.
I thank God we had pretzels though.
So when Chad and I did a pick for Total Wine over at Nulu Prohibition Craft, we sampled a few barrels over there, quite a few barrels.
14.
Okay, there you go. It was a lot of barrels, and there was really nothing to eat on, and I was like, we got to get a snack. So they come in with these little bags of Doritos, man, and Chad and I were just like chowing down on all these little mini bags of Doritos. So that's kind of the inside joke that now is the outside joke that Doritos are the choice for barrel picks. But
I bet that is an interesting taste for the pour bourbon.
yeah.
Man, after 14 barrels of nothing but straight from the barrel, anything will taste good.
Oh, yeah.
So was it nacho cheese or was it Cool Ranch?
Nacho cheese. Nacho cheese.
Yeah. So that's the jam, man. So we got there on that morning, and we're sitting there, we're tasting through all this, and fortunately we did have some snacks, like you said, Chad, which was nice. And I'll never forget sitting there, and I was facing the room is beautiful. It's just like a conference room, and they've got floor to ceiling glass that looks out over into that field behind the distillery. And I'm sitting here, and we're working through the bottles, and all of a sudden I just see this big rack of horns just walking through the field. I can't see anything else. Can't see the head, nothing. It's over a little ridge line, and I stop for a second. I'm like, okay, am I really seeing this? It's one of those moments where you're like, is this really happening? Do I really see this? So I tell everybody else, I'm like, okay, guys, just do me a favor. Look out the window and tell me what you see. So there were a huge buck, right?
Yep.
Just a beautiful buck. So our pick to pay homage to the buck that we saw, we've named it 11 Point Buck because it is an 11-year-old bourbon as well. Mm-hmm. We talked about it, and we weren't sure because I'm not a big sticker guy. I know a lot of bourbon collectors are, but Philip,
I like the stickers. I get why people do it, and there's some that have been absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But then there's some I'm like, come on. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, you had to go there?
No, I agree. What do you guys think? What do you, Chad, Matt?
Matt, you can go first.
I don't see why not. It's just as long as I'm not like paying an extra $10 for the sticker.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a fun way to decorate your bottle. And I think I enjoy that we did it with this Bulleit because otherwise there's a little hang tag that you could easily lose.
Right.
So you wouldn't, and there's nowhere else on the label that it says who the pick is from.
That's a good point.
Aside the hang tag.
Speaking of stickers, did you know Four Roses banned stickers on their...
Damn, you stole my topic.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Speaking of Bulleit Barrel Picks, Four Roses has banned stickers on their body. Yeah, I did see that. That's,
like wax dipping, anything that is not their property.
And I feel like that's probably going to be
I think
starting to go.
yeah. I think after that stuff with the Riff Patino.
Oh, that wasn't even the worst one. You didn't see the Monica Nurifsky.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh
I've seen
no,
that.
I didn't.
Oh
see
yeah,
that,
it's got the president kissing the bottle.
Oh no, I didn't see that one. Man. But that Riff Patino was pretty. That was pretty rough, man.
Yeah.
So I know they got a lot of grief over that. But I mean, once it leaves the distillery, man, those guys have no control over what groups or clubs or anybody does with it. But we did something I thought was pretty tasteful.
Yeah,
right?
ours is 100% tasteful. Looks good.
Yeah, it was fun.
I don't think we'll offend anyone or
No, I don't think so.
anything with that.
Yeah. So the 11-point.
And it's got a
buck,
story to it. That
Yeah.
that means a
Sure,
lot too.
yeah.
I mean,
think.
so did
Yeah.
Riff Patino, but I mean,
But it was funny because it was like you were sitting there and she's like, "All right, so you get the hang tag," which I think's really. At first I was like, I don't know that I like it, but now that we've got the bottles, I'm like, I think that's really cool. I really like the hang tag, but it's got the Bourbon Life on it. Then she's like, "You guys want to name it?" And I'm like, we're sitting there like, what are we gonna call this? So I think it was a joint effort. We came up with 11-point buck, right? So
And it all flows together. The Bulleit,
Yeah,
the
right,
hunting,
the hunting
the
of the
buck.
buck,
Yeah,
that's
it all goes together.
I had not even thought
Yeah.
about that, Philip, to be honest, until just now.
big brain thinking right there, Phil.
Damn.
Yeah. The only problem is we picked this right after the ice storm, and it's the picture on the sticker is a buck with all these icicles hanging off of his antlers and off his rack, and now it's being released in
In the summer.
the middle of summer.
100 degrees outside.
Yeah, like poor planning on the Bourbon Life for that one.
Just need
Well,
to promote it as a Christmas present.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's like buy
this
it.
Christmas in July, baby.
There you go, Chris. There you go, Matt. Christmas in July. So it is available through West End Discount Liquors and Wines down in Nashville. They've got their website up, and you can actually buy it online there. So check it out. But guys, let's talk about the taste of it. What do you guys get? Philip, I'll come back to you, man, since this is your first go around with it.
It is a delicious bourbon, 100%. I get a lot of caramel, and it definitely does not drink 104 proof.
Yeah.
I would say, if I had to put it I would say it drinks at probably like a 95. But yeah, it's fantastic. I can definitely get some fruit notes in it. Definitely get a little bit of the rice spice, but it's like just enough. It's not, overpowering, or it's not just like a subtle thing. Like it's just that perfect level. It's definitely a very good bourbon.
Good. Chad, what about you now that you're getting back into it, man? Now that you took a drink of water and you can't talk. Hey, Chad, now that your mouth's full of water, what do you think about this?
No, it's got a delicious. You definitely get that rice spice in there, but like Philip said, it's not too much. It doesn't hit like 104.
Right.
The finish is very nice and long on it, but I totally get a lot of once again that red fruit. I think the yeast strain that they used in this one it's got to be that nice red juicy fruit type of flavor.
Because this is one of 5 available yeast strains that they have.
Yeah.
So
And two
and 2 different mash bills.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, but I digress. Matt, what about you, man?
So the nose on it, going back to that, I'm picking up now that it's sat out a little longer. I remember this at the distillery. It's starting to come through a little bit more toasty marshmallow.
Gotcha.
I think the age and the oak is really starting to play a little bit more on the nose.
Yeah.
And it's just getting sweeter, more of that toastiness.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we talked about that when it was just we'd come back to it, and it's like the longer it's set, the sweeter. We just kept picking that up. So I do remember that, Matt.
And you said this is an 11-year-old?
It is 11 years old. Yeah. So
I think
So don't buy the sourced whiskey that's 15. Buy this one for 11. Half the price.
That's a good point, man. You know,
Yeah.
speaking of which, and Chad, you had a post up earlier this week or last week, or over the weekend maybe, that was about talking a little bit about that and sourced bourbons and the kind of craziness that's going on right now in the bourbon world with these, man. So what tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we just happened to get in Sweetens Cove, and Sweetens Cove wasn't meant to be like the poster child for this at work. But I took a picture of the bottle, posted it online in a story, who's a fan of Sweetens Cove, yes or no kind of deal. And it was kind of a like 65% no to 35% yes or whatever. So I made a post about that. The post wasn't targeting just Sweetens Cove.
Right.
It was just premium air quotes whiskeys that are now hitting that $150, $200, $250, $300 price point that are sourcing. And Sweetens Cove, they're very open. They don't necessarily say Dickel, but I mean you can figure out that it's Dickel, Tullahoma, Cascade Distilling. But I mean, you've got places like Blue Run who are sourcing Barton, and they're charging $200 to $250, average retail price on their 13.5 year.
Right.
When you can go get like Calumet 14 for 109, and it may not be 112 proof, but so this premium whiskey trend, which has kind of come and gone in the past couple of years, but now it's really picking up steam.
Sure.
Kind of annoys me because, I mean, why? Just because you have a celebrity or a famous person or a former master distiller in your brand, does that make it worth triple the value that the regular brand you source from sees it at? I think no. I've had some of these whiskeys. They could be, or they are, some of them are phenomenal, but I just, they're not worth the price tag they're asking.
Right.
And that sparked a little outrage on Instagram, which your opinion's your opinion. My opinion's my opinion. I will accept whatever you say, and I will not argue with you. But it got a little heated there for a minute.
Yeah. No, I understand that because I saw your post and I was like, yeah, you're right on. That's what I said. Valid points. And gosh, if only you knew somebody with a podcast where you could discuss these points in greater detail, right? Matt, what do you think, man? What's your take on all that?
I think that the industry is seeing a lot of people that are not producing their whiskey, like we're saying, not distilling it,
right?
That really love their product, and I think it's an unfortunate sign of the times where the trend has gone with bourbon, whiskey, rye, the brown spirits becoming more popular, and people are just able to capitalize on the price. And whether that's these companies jacking the price, or maybe it's getting harder for them to source these barrels, and the barrels themselves are becoming higher in price, or their taxes are going up on it.
Sure.
There could be a whole lot of other stuff. I'm trying to give benefit of the doubt.
You're playing the devil,
if
kind of
there
a devil's
might be
advocate, but
any benefit of the doubt.
Right.
But that said, I don't see a whole lot of reason to be paying $200 for older sourced whiskey when there's really great stuff that there's no veil or no curtain hidden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Placed in front of it where you don't know what exactly it is, where exactly it's been, who exactly it's from, but it's got a fancy glass, a large H statement, and a big price tag.
Yep.
I shouldn't need Nicolas Cage to help me figure out where the whiskey came from.
Well, and I feel like too, so like, you've had on Penelope Bourbon, they're sourced. You've had on Country Smooth, they're sourced.
Right.
But they're not overpriced.
Right.
And, like I feel like the companies, like you said, they love their product. And I think they're going out there but I've never, some of these other brands, I've never heard them on a podcast. I've never heard them saying anything about their products. And it's just like, there's tons of them. Going to any liquor store in Kentucky, you'll see the bottles.
Sure you will.
And it's just like, I don't know that, so I think some of these people see something in the market, they're like, oh, I can make jack off this right now. And they already have another business or something where they have money set aside. Yeah. And this is a quick money play. And then as soon as it busts, they're all going to disappear.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think that's the big thing right there is that the bourbon industry has exploded so much, and there's a lot of people out there that saw the opportunity to say, hey, I could buy barrels and I could put them in a fancy bottle, and a fancy topper or whatever, and charge 3 or 4 or 5 times what it's worth. You know, and the bad thing is, there's so many people that are getting into the bourbon industry, not industry, but getting into bourbon now, and they're going to see these, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, you know,
I have to have it because it's $200 and it's got a hologram sticker on it.
Yeah, and it's like, I've got to have this bottle. I've got to get this because I've seen it posted on Instagram, or you know, I've seen people talking about it on Facebook or Instagram, wherever. And I think a lot of people, that fear of missing out on something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then they're going to drop $150, $200, and they're going to be really disappointed.
Well, that's not to say that it isn't really good bourbon, and it
Well,
might be
absolutely,
worth
I'm sure it is.
True.
the price tag, and certainly if somebody buys it, it's worth it to them.
Yeah, and
so-
that's the thing is, you know, what your the value of your dollar is the value of your dollar.
Sure.
You know, I spend money how you want, anyone who's listening, but that's
Right.
It bothers me when I have a customer come into my store and they're like, I want to get a good bourbon, and they're like, how good's that bourbon? They point to this and it's $300. It's great. It's a great whiskey. Don't get me wrong, but I have this $50 bottle over here that is phenomenal. I like it way
Sure.
better, and
Right.
they're like, yeah, but that's got a nice, cool bottle, and it's $300. Well, yeah, but they purchased it from this $50 bottle,
Right.
and this
Yeah.
is damn good whiskey. And that's the
Right.
thing I think they're getting with now is, you know, some people are uneducated and they're just
Right.
they see the price tag. You know, you pay more for a car, you assume it's better. You pay more for tennis shoes, you assume it's better. You pay more for a T-shirt, you assume it's better. Whiskey, it's not gonna be that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not.
Yeah, and I mean, so like I know the rumor out in the Instagram bourbon world is like a lot of these, you have like probably 30 different brands that are all 15-year-old bourbon, and these companies have only been around 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And the rumor is it's Jim Beam. I'm like, okay, so walk into Kroger or the other liquor store and get a 14-year-old bourbon for $50.
Yeah. I mean,
Like it's the same thing, and
Yeah.
Jim Beam sold it, so they obviously didn't want it for their product.
Right.
So is it their best product? Maybe, maybe not. It don't fit their taste profile, obviously, or they wouldn't have sold it.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I'll go out and spend, or even like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, you know, I'll spend the $65-$70 a bottle on that any day.
All day.
Because I know I'm getting a great product, and I know it's reasonably priced, and I know I'm going to really enjoy it. Or like you said, like if I could find a Knob Creek, Matt, you know, I initially wasn't a fan of Knob Creek, but Matt was always saying, oh, you got
Knob Creek is
120
fantastic.
proof.
You can't go
and
wrong
when
with
you
it.
can get them single barrel, and
Sure.
now they've changed their program to where you're looking like 9-year max. But when they were pumping out 15, 14, 13, 11, 12-year-old
Yep. Delicious.
single barrels
Oh,
at
yeah, man.
$60,
You can't beat that, man. That's what when we picked those ones for OBC Kitchen last year, you know, we were right at, I think it was 14.8, and then 14.6, and then 13.5.
and that's age you're talking, 14 years. 6
Yeah,
months,
yeah. So it's almost, you know, 2 bottles were almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And one was 13.5, you know, and buying them through OBC, it was only, I think it was $185 for all 3 bottles. So $60, a little over $60 a bottle. I
Which
mean,
is ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, but I mean, I know not everybody can go out and find Knob Creek, you know, barrel picks for that price, but
But even like the Knob Creek, just like the regular,
sure,
the
right.
100 proof 9-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a fantastic bourbon. And so I'm going to ask you all, when do you think the boom dies? Because like the sourced boom, because like MGP can't supply everybody.
And with
Obviously, I mean, Buffalo Trace can't even supply themselves.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, but you know, you got these other distilleries now that are jumping in and doing contract distilling for
Wilderness
people.
Trail.
Wilderness Trail's doing it. Bardstown Bourbon's contract distilling for a bunch of people. New Riff. So I don't know. I don't know when this.
The high aged market, so like MGP
Yeah,
buying
right,
Luxco,
right, sure.
they could bring them 12-year-old Indiana barrels, put them in Kentucky for a year and a day, and boom, you've got 12-year-old
Right.
Kentucky bourbon or 13-year-old. So I mean, I see MGP kind of killing that whole like you're gonna get 8-year and up whiskey from us. You might be able to get 4 and 5, and that's it.
Right.
But there will always be brand sourcing. There always has been, even way back in, the 40s and 50s. People were buying from everyone to kind of cash flow. I don't see that ever going away. But I think that we will see the end of these, 12 to 15-year-old, even Dickel. I mean, I think Diageo will end up killing that whole program altogether. Because they just released an 8-year-old, or they announced the 8-year-old George Dickel standard bourbon. So I think you're probably going to see a lot more Dickel barrels out there at younger ages, but you probably won't see these 10 to 16-year-old barrels anymore.
Interesting. Matt, what do you think? You look deep in thought over there, man.
I think it's a tough industry
Sure.
to really make any predictions about, because the stuff that's being produced now, before anybody's going to drink it, you're looking like 4 years, right, to be safe before anything's really released. So, like, to say that when is the industry going to die off? And I do not envy anybody that's in the position of trying to plan ahead for this, because right now we are certainly in a boom. I think a lot of the older barrels are going to they're going to be used up pretty quick here. I think, and I kind of hope that maybe in the coming years we start to realize that there's a really great sweet spot in like the 8 to 10 year range, and you don't need to go to 12. You don't need to go to 15 to 13.
Absolutely.
Maybe if people are realizing, well, this was just really well crafted, aged really well in really great barrels at 8 to 10, or in a rye from 5 to 7, I think maybe it could be a nice shift away from 20-year, 18-year, 17-year products where the yield is so low, or it's just been rejected so many times that they left it sitting around until somebody finally swooped it up and slapped a sticker on it.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I hope that doesn't happen, which, I like to support the little guy.
Sure.
But it's so hard to walk into a Total Wine, Liquor Barn, wherever, and there's 100 different bourbons. You get the little guys, and they're $60, and then there's the big guy that tried and true. It's going to taste good no matter what you do.
Yeah.
It just makes it hard to spend that kind of money.
Yep.
And, and attention span for the younger generations that are like getting into bourbon now, they're like 21, 22 years old. They're going to be into, who knows what in 6 months from now, let alone
tequila.
A year. Yeah. So
tequila. I'm calling it tequila. Yeah. I mean, good points, man. I mean, and Chad, I appreciate you bringing that up and discussing that on your Instagram. And I wanted to talk about that obviously on the podcast, but let's get back, because we're at the end. We're running over, but that's okay, because we're hanging out having fun. But let's talk about the barrel pick that we did. So what do you guys final thoughts on that one? Or do we talk about have we even talked about the palate on it? I don't remember now.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah,
it's like I think we did, but did we do that? All right. So final thoughts on it? What do you think?
Delicious, fruity, great caramel, great
and
vanilla.
Caramel and vanilla.
It's funny. I had a payday, part of a payday candy bar earlier today, and the caramel and the nuttiness. I don't know, something about it really kind of tasted like that.
How funny.
Just now.
Yeah.
But it got a really great fruity nose, nice toasty marshmallow on the nose, apple butter you're talking about, Chad. Yeah. That rings really true. But a great, juicy, bold palate, nice rye spice finish. I think it's nothing on this is really phenomenally outstanding or outspoken as far as the palate. I just think it's really well balanced.
Yep. That's a good way to say it. Yep. Guys, Chad, Philip, what do you guys think?
I mean, I agree. I think, and for an 11-year-old, it's a beautiful bourbon for what it is. It's a store pick, and you're not going to go out and buy a Bulleit off the shelf at 11 years old.
Right. Yeah.
So, and for the price, for sure. So,
yeah. $59.99. Yeah. Just so everybody knows.
Go to the Bourbon Life Instagram page and click on the link in the description.
Go buy a bottle. But they do, if you buy a bottle, you can pick it up in Nashville at West End, or you can select to pick it up in Lexington. And if that happens, then I'm going to be making a trip to Nashville. They actually sent us the barrel too. And I swear she told us at the pick that we would not get the barrel.
Yeah, because you asked, and I'm pretty sure she was like, yeah, no, we don't do that.
We don't do that. And I'm like, okay. And then when I talked to HP down there, he's like, yeah, I've got your bottles in your barrel. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, oh, he just means he's got the bottles. And I go into the store and there's the barrel. I'm like,
surely you wasn't the first person to ask for the barrel.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think
man.
so.
No, I
Surely
mean
not.
everybody's got it, right? But I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, so we get the barrel, but yeah, I'll be driving down there in mid-July, and for people that select that Lexington pickup option, I'm going to be picking up some bottles. I'm bringing them back and making sure everybody gets them, man. That's the thing. But we had a great time doing the pick, man. So Chad, I'm glad you got to go with it. Sorry, Philip.
Thank you guys for taking me.
I'm glad I got to taste it now. It's fantastic.
The next time we do one, you'll definitely be on board with that for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up, man. It's been a fun show. I've enjoyed just hanging out with you guys and
Hell yeah.
and the Bourbon Life crew in the house.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again.
All right, guys. So Matt, before we wrap it up, final thoughts from you? Anything you want to add? Say.
Good to get the band back together again.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. We appreciate it. It's been a good time.
Thanks for having us.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. I want to thank our sponsors, The Stave Restaurant. Again, check them out online, thestavekentucky.com. Check them out on Instagram. Also, 3 Chord Bourbon. You can check them out on Instagram and social media at 3 Chord Bourbon or online at 3chordbourbon.com. We just appreciate their support as well. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up, send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.